up, everybody? Welcome to Music Deconstructed. In this video, I'm not actually going to deconstruct the song. I know when I first started writing music, I had a tough time because back in the day, I didn't know how to add drum samples to the DAW that I was working on. I actually didn't realize how easy it was going to be. But to be fair, back then, things weren't as easy as they are today. The other thing I want to preface is I use Easy Drummer 2. But I've also used Steven Slate sample drums. I've used Superior Drummer, which is basically Easy Drummer 2. It's by the same company. Superior Drummer is a lot more in-depth. And because it's so in-depth, you can craft the drums to your liking a lot more than you can with Easy Drummer 2. But for all you new songwriters and possibly mixing engineers out there, this is the best bet, in my opinion, as far as what you can do with drums. So before I get into actually how I create my drum tracks, let me go through Easy Drummer 2. Again, this isn't a tutorial video, so there's gonna be a lot of features in this program that I'm not going to cover, so don't expect that again. But for anybody out there that's trying to figure out what can I use, what program can I buy, what's my best bang for the buck, it's Easy Drummer 2. It's at tunetrack.com. What's great about this is, I mean, if you look at this interface right here, you know, it's a plugin that you load up in your instrument track in Pro Tools. What's great about this is you have your interface where it shows the drum kit that you're using. And you can even sample these by just clicking on it, or if you have a keyboard, you can use a keyboard. And if you Easy Drummer also sells add-on packs, not add-on plugins, but they sell yeah, they basically sell add-on packs. So if you scroll down, like for example, one of the ones that I like to use is called Metal Machine, and it takes a second to load, but this is what you have, and you can tell the drum kit's a lot bigger. It also sounds different. Each add-on pack has its own library. Let's go to, like if you look at Pop, for example, it's more of a, you know, the drum kit's a lot more simple, looks a lot cleaner. One of the new ones I just got is kind of unique in that it's not a drum kit per se, it's just more of a beat pad, but it allows you to create more modern pop sounds. So you can kind of come up with some unique things there if you're trying to come up with a non-metal song, for example. So Indie Folk is another one. And each add-on pack comes with its own settings. So you have your basic Gretsch, your Ludwig Rock, your Ludwig Tape, the original mix for the kit. So if I play the basic Gretsch on this Indie kit, but if I go to, let's say, Ludwig, actually let's go to Ludwig Rock. You can tell it sounds a lot different. The metal drums are a lot tighter. They're not as boomy. Here's what the metal sounds like. You can tell they're a lot tighter, they're more triggered sounding, as is the case with metal a lot of times. So with that being said, you have an assortment of things you can do. Just its basic kit's pretty good for Easy Drummer. You can do a lot of other things in this program. You can change the what hand is the heaviest. So if you have a MIDI track where the hi-hats are heavy-handed, you can actually switch that and make it so one of the cymbals is. Again, there are plenty of videos on the internet that will show you all those things, and I'll let you guys explore that. But this is what I use. Now, the other cool thing about this is you have the browser, and this is where all your MIDI is at. And so if you scroll up and down here, you have your add-on packs, which is your, you can download from TuneTrack. You can purchase separate MIDI by itself. So if you don't want an actual add-on, let's say with Metalheads, you don't actually want the add-on because you don't want to spend a lot of money, let's say, you can still buy the MIDI for that. You just have to use a different kit. And all the MIDI you can use with other add-on packs. So let's say I have Indie Folk MIDI right here, but I want to use it with my metal drums. I can go ahead and do that. So it's really, there's a lot of combinations that you can use. Okay. Now, let me just go over this browser real quick, and then I'll show you kind of what I do to create a song. So let's say I want to use my Indie Folk EasyX. I'm not using my Indie Folks add-on pack. In fact, for the rest of this video, I'm just going to use the Easy Drummer basic kit. So again, like I said, you can use any MIDI you want. Sometimes what people like to do is use the MIDI that's associated with the add-on pack that they purchase, but again, it's up to you. But what's cool about this is, let's say I want to go to indie folk and I want to, I want to find MIDI, right? Something to play along with my song. Generally, I'll already have a guitar riff or bass or whatever already written down, and I add the drums after that. But let's say you want to start with the drum track and you want to write a riff over that. Because sometimes I'll do that too. Sometimes I have no idea what I want to kind of come up with. So I'll find a nice beat and I'll write the guitars to that beat. So let's say I'm going to do that, which I'm not really going to do that in this video. So I'll go here to indie folk and I'll find the time signature that I want, and I'll find, let's say, ballad, halftime, mid-tempo. Let's go to halftime straight 3/4. It's breaking up into intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, and fills. Now, again, you don't have to use this this chain of events into a song. In fact, you can use the intro to the indie folk, right? Let's say you play this. That's just some cymbals, so you're not going to really hear much. Let me actually turn this up for you folks. So there's not much going on. But let's say I want to use that intro. I'll go ahead and drag that into my track, which I'll show you in a minute. And then I can go to pop, find a song. Actually, let's go to Nashville. Find a song, then I can use the verse from the Nashville MIDI collection. So there's a lot that you can do as far as that goes. You can actually create your own song structure. But I don't generally just, I generally won't just go ahead and put an intro and a verse and a chorus down, because again, what I write, the drums kind of correlate with what I write. So I might write a song that's 2 verses before the chorus. So, there's a lot of playing around that you do. But in order to make this all happen, let's go to rock solid. I'll go to my straight 4/4, and I'll find a verse. So there's 2 options I can do here. I can either drag this MIDI into Easy Drummer's song block section here and create the song itself, which will allow me to do a lot of neat things within Easy Drummer 2. But a lot of times I won't do that. A lot of times I'll drag the MIDI into my actual track and do some adjustments there. But let's say I drag it into the song blocks here. The one benefit to doing this before you actually bring it into the track is you can actually double click on the MIDI track. And this is where I was saying you can use your heavy hand or your power hand, and you can adjust that. So let's say I'm playing this. And you can hear how the power hand is on the hi-hats. But let's say I want to drag that to this little China cymbal or crash cymbal, or I'm not a drummer, so I don't really know. But let's say I want to switch it. Well, this is what it's going to sound like now. So you get the idea. I'll drag that back to the hi-hats. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because I don't really want that there right now. But what I'll do is I'll drag the clip into my track, okay? And then from here, I'll just close out Easy Drummer for now. I mean, I can always pull it up again if I want to add more to the song. I just click on the plugin, and then sorry about my AC, just came back on, or my heater. Now it's cold out. But generally right here, I'll go ahead and after I've done writing this segment of the song, I'll go find another MIDI track and throw it in there, and we're all set. So from right here, I have a nice little track. So let's say, I wrote my basic riff down, and then I wrote a guitar next to that. So I have this nice guitar riff going, and it sounds great. But now, because of, like when I throw in the drum track here and then I write the guitar riff, sometimes I end up writing it to where it doesn't exactly match the drum track. Because I end up using this particular track, or whatever I lay down, I end up using that more as a metronome than actually playing along to the drum track. So oftentimes what I have to do is go in and edit the MIDI for the drums in order to make them kind of go together and to make them fit better, for example. So what I do, there's a couple things I can do in Pro Tools. I can double click the MIDI track so it opens up in a new window. I don't like doing that because it clutters it up. So I'll go ahead and change the track view to notes. And then I expand the track, and then I can go up here and make my MIDI look bigger and blah, blah, blah. It's boring stuff for you guys. So So now I can go here and let's say I play the drums. You can see all the MIDI. All right, so let's say I want to do something different with this drum track. I'm actually going to make the grid a 16th note, which means I can make it so I can put down notes in 16th increments versus like, let's say 8th right here. There's a lot less I can do. Quarter note, same thing. So let's go to 16th. So these are the bass notes. These are the snare notes, and these are your cymbals. Let's say I don't like the kick drum, okay, the bass kick drum. So I'm gonna play this again. Let's say I want to remove it. So I'll double click to remove the MIDI note, and I'll double click again to add a MIDI note, depending. If I'm clicking on the MIDI note, double clicking, it gets rid of it, and if there's nothing there, it adds it. So I just took out a kick. I don't like that other kick. So as you can tell, I'm gonna do that again over here. Now I took out some of the kicks, and now this is what you have. Now let's pretend I don't like the second part of that. I want to add another kick in there. So I just added a kick. Add another kick. Add another snare. There we go. So that's basically how I change my drums around. So if I wanted to have more swing type of feel, which is what you hear right here versus what you did have, I'm not going to undo everything. You know, I'm not going to undo. You can go back and listen to what the original one was. But this is kind of how I mess with my MIDI. This also applies to piano or synth sounds too. If you can load up a piano plugin and add your notes. This is how I compose my piano tracks, by the way. I haven't had a keyboard in a very long time. So what you can do is load up a piano plugin, click on the notes, and just kind of start building your piano composition to have that fit within your music. That's what's great about MIDI. The thing is you have to know how to make your MIDI sound human. Because I can go, if you look at these notes, you can see some notes are lighter than others. The way MIDI works is there's a velocity range of 0 to 127. 0 meaning there's nothing there, and 127 is the hardest you can hit. And velocity means basically how hard you hit the note. So if I made a piano track and all the notes are at 127, which would mean that all these notes are dark as shit, it would mean that you're hitting as hard as possible. So if you were to play a piano and every note you're hitting as hard as possible, it's not going to sound human. The same thing applies to the drums, and let me show you what I mean. So if you listen to this, that segment right there, this is what it sounds like. And if you look at some of these lighter snare notes, you can hear how see how light it sounds like it's hitting, and then right here, it's harder, and it's humanizing the track. But let's say I was gonna go here and make every note as loud as possible, as hard hitting as possible. Now all the notes here, because you can tell they're all darker, they're all at 127 now. So if I were to play this, and you can see how it doesn't make it sound natural. So if you get a drum program, a lot of times the drummers that actually create these MIDI tracks, when they drum, there's like MIDI sensors that pick up how hard they're hitting. So generally, when you download a MIDI pack, especially from TuneTrack, it's gonna be humanized. It's gonna be humanized sounding, especially if you download piano MIDI, it's the same thing. But if you're creating your own, let's say you go over here and you wanna create a simple, actually, let me drag this out here. So if I were to create a kick drum, and now I want to add some hi-hats in the mix. Now everything here is at 127. very generic. Now, the kick and the snare I'm okay with, but the hi-hats, they're a little too, machine gun sounding. So what I would do here is lower the velocity to every other hi-hat to make it sound like I'm hitting hard and then kind of hitting soft, the way a real drummer would probably do it. And let me mute that so you can just hear the hi-hats. All right, still a little too machine gun sounding, so I'm gonna lower them just a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not gonna go too much in detail, but if you're new to this and you're new to MIDI, just understand that there are ways, especially nowadays, where you can buy a drum program, buy a piano program, and then you can buy the MIDI that goes with the program that you have, especially with drums. So you don't have to worry about humanizing too much. But a lot of times when I download some stuff, not download, but a lot of times when I add some stock MIDI from the program that I'm using. So if you have, let's say you have your the stock MIDI in Easy Drummer, I bring that in. Well, if I want to make changes, if I want to change the hi-hats or if I want to change a kick drum or the snare, I have to be mindful of how a player would play it. Are they going to hit that snare that I just added? Is that going to be hit harder? Is that going to be hit softer? Things like that. But this is basically how I create my drums. It's a very simple process. The hardest part comes from actually making the MIDI fit the song that you're writing. I mean, you could also just take these tracks as is and then write to that and then be satisfied and then make your song. And I've done that too, so it's not necessarily a bad thing if you use the MIDI that comes with these programs. But yeah, that's about it. That's how I create my drum tracks. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you soon with another music deconstructed song. I'm not sure which one yet, though. Thanks for watching.